A new timeline set for repairs to the Fishing Hole Road Bridge. A 40-year-old man believed to be the victim of the island's latest murder. And an increase in copper theft on Grand Bahama. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shoshina Wolf-Farquharson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, a new timeline has been set for repairs to the Fishing Hole Road Bridge. The superstructure, which was damaged in September by Hurricane Dorian and recent adverse weather condition, has made a bad situation worse. As we hear in this report, plans have been announced for repair work to be completed ahead of the hurricane season. Jamila Mizik reports.
A major project underway to repair the Fishing Hole Road Causeway. The road has been severely damaged by Hurricane Dorian, leaving it difficult for many to traverse the area. But Minister of State for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, says that's all about to change, as the government is proud to announce that work has begun to complete the process.
We know that the public has been very, very agitated with respect to having this bridge completed. And so we wanted to make it a point to come back to the public and to say to the public, we just need you to be patient for a few more weeks, but work is being done now. The contractors are on site, and we also want to caution the public that as they come into this area, for them to drive cautiously because work will be in process.
All Bahamas Construction Company is the general contractor for the Fishing Hole Road Causeway. President of ABC Construction, Wolfgang Geiger, says they have come up with a new and improved way to ensure that the bridge is better able to withstand any future storms.
We had to come up with a better protection of these apartments on both sides, and the government and us, we came up with the plan to make a 8-inch thick concrete slab road to protect this for future storm surge, and this should not happen again, theoretically, because all the studies of scientists, they never predicted 23-foot storm surge here in this area. The highest was 10, 11 feet. The bridge is 12 feet high. So theoretically, we should not have this situation, but nobody predicted a hurricane like this, what we had in September.
He says in the next 6 to 8 weeks, they hope to have the project completed.
We have purchased all the material. We should get the material to Freeport end of February, early March. And to the end of March, we should have the road basically finished, paved, and ready to go.
On hand for the announcement was Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Peter Turnquest, who says now that this project is being completed, they will be able to move on to other important infrastructural matters.
We're certainly very pleased that we're checking this box off so that we can move on to the other projects that need to be completed, the airport, the hotel, the other road constructions, the public buildings that need to be done, hospitals, clinics, schools that need to be repaired. So again, the government of the Bahamas is committed to Grand Bahama. We are not going to leave Grand Bahama behind.
Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
In other news, the Disaster Reconstruction Authority launching its small home repair program in Abaco today, exactly 1 week after establishing its Grand Bahama Repair Program. Abaconians can now go to the government complex in Abaco to register. Residents whose homes were damaged by Hurricane Dorian can also register online at www.drabahamas.org. There are 4 classifications of home repairs that homeowners can qualify for under the program. Minor damage, you can get $2,500. For moderate damage, you can get $5,000, and severe damage, you can get $7,500. Now, if your home has been totally destroyed, you can get up to $10,000. Classifications are as a result of assessments done by the Ministry of Works. Switching gears now, a 19-year-old male is said to be assisting police with their investigation into a murder in the Lewis Yard community on Friday night. The victim, believed to be in his early 40s, was found dead in his bedroom. His body was stuffed in a bin. Police officials finding the body of a man stuffed in a bin inside a bedroom in a house in the Lewis Yard community Friday night. According to officers, family members alerted them that their loved one was missing since Wednesday of last week. Officer in charge of the Central Detective Unit, Brian Roll, said upon investigation, the male, believed to be in his early 40s, was found dead in his home.
EMS personnel will call, checking that male for life, negative results. As a result, we have an investigation of what we suspect to be a murder.
Now, this Monday, our news team came back to the scene of the island's latest murder. Here, we met with the victim's brother, Carlton Russell, who says that their family is still left in utter shock and disbelief.
All they do is accept it, because I know, like they say, they'll carry left, but you hear all kind of rumors from this and because they say he's gay, or they love her, or this and that, but you don't, now we can't point fingers and tell the police give an autopsy and you get the motive. All I want to know is the motive behind it, that's all I want to know.
His brother contends that Jamal was loved by his community and was not ashamed of who he was, as he spoke passionately about his brother's love for church.
Or that they say he was gay, they like him. He's just, I went to church go and everything. I had trouble in the church last Sunday, and this Sunday, that was it.
Wow.
But I know he's a good church, and I tell my friend, right, Friday, when they work me on Friday, I tell them somebody had to strangle him, because he was a fighter. He was young, small and tiny, but he was strong.
Before his disappearance, he contends that his brother knew that something was going to happen.
He knew somebody, they must have already threatened him. And he said, I can buy all these wicked people away from here. He gets some incense, they say, and some sage, and he used to boil it away. That was Tuesday, they say.
Jamal was driving a rental car, and it is believed that whoever killed him escaped in that vehicle and then ditched it. He says the hardest part is knowing that his brother, who was also deaf, was murdered in his bedroom, feet away from where other family members were asleep. He adds that police seem to be moving swiftly on this case, as a suspect has been identified.
He was there, and when they see him, I cry. I said, this little small boy, he doesn't want us Jamal. I started crying because when I see him and he walking around and he just escorting the police around the vendor. So I say, he have to know. If he was in there, he have to know what's going on.
Now, this is the room where police officials would have found the victim's body. According to family members, they believe that this is the window where the suspect would have exited to make his escape. They believe that regardless of their brother's lifestyle, no one deserved to die the way he did. Meantime, police also dealing with an increase in copper theft on the island since the passage of Hurricane Dorian. Tonight, the officer in charge of the Central Detective Unit warns that those found guilty of this offense can face a fine or imprisonment. Here's Megan Shepard.
Officer in charge of the Central Detective Unit, Superintendent Brian Roll, giving an update on the law of the land when it comes to copper wire theft. Roll says that since the passing of Hurricane Dorian, the Royal Bahamas Police Force has received an increase in reports of the theft.
For this year alone, and when I say copper, I'm speaking specifically of copper wire. For this year alone so far, we have had over 8 reports of stolen copper wire. The majority of these wires were stolen from homes that were severely damaged in eastern Grand Bahama and from the utility companies, specifically BDC. We've had persons moving these wires without being authorized to do so and taking them to licensed dealers within Grand Bahama.
Now, copper can be exported internationally through dealers. Superintendent Roll says that these dealers must follow a number of rules.
The dealers must show a receipt for every bit of copper wire that they receive, and that receipt must show clear the history regarding that copper wire, from whence it first was collected by that individual, and who gave that individual it, if it's a second-hand person, and also a photo ID of the person who was presenting those copper wire to the dealer must also be taken by that dealer.
Failure to comply with the laws can lead to a fine or imprisonment.
Persons who find themselves in this position can be fined up to $50,000 or 12 months in jail, or in most cases, both fine and jail time. We just would like to caution the Grand Bahama community that even though you see copper wires from these utility companies on the ground, like BDC and the power company, it is still the property of those utility companies. And I wouldn't even go as far as saying that it's in someone's home. Unless you get permission to go in that home and remove that copper wire, that's the only reason you should be in possession of it.
Now, recently, BTC was struck hard by copper thieves. Since then, Director of Field Operations Trevor Turnquist says that officers were able to recover some of the stolen property.
They're probably in the final stages of investigation. Most definitely, we have been brought up to speed on what's going on, and I just want to thank them for the job that they're doing to combat this situation that's most inconvenient for our customers.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Well, the Royal Bahamas Police Forest Services Department had a busy weekend as they worked to control a fire that occurred at a set of apartments on the premises of Tabernacle Baptist Academy on Settlers Way. We spoke with Sergeant 2796 Russell of the Fire Services Department.
Sometime shortly after about 3:30, we received information of a structure fire on Settlers Way. We responded, 2 trucks responded to the scene. On arrival, we met the rear unit fully engulfed in flames. As a result, we made the initial attack to knock down the fire, stop the spread from the 2 units in the front.
Sergeant Russell says they are unable to confirm how that fire started, but investigations are continuing.
We're still doing present investigation, but we are aware that the building had no power, no electricity, but also vagrants might have been living in the unit at this time.
Stay with us. There's more news right after the break.